A reading from St. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 20. While Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside by themselves and said to them on the way, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death. Then they will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified, and on the third day he will be raised." Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came to him with her sons, and kneeling before him, she asked a favour of him. And he said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Declare that these 2 sons of mine will sit, one at your right hand and one at your left, in your kingdom." But Jesus answered, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink?" They said to him, "We are able." He said to them, "You will indeed drink my cup, but to sit at my right hand and at my left, this is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." When the 10 heard it, they were angry with the 2 brothers. But Jesus called to them and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. It will not be so among you. But whoever wishes to be great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be your slave, just as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and give his life a ransom for many."
The mother of James and John, unnamed, but in a way representing mothers the world over, wanting what they consider to be the best for their sons. Or was she a tiger mum, determined her sons would have the finest, most prestigious and powerful position, and most importantly, this fact recognised by everyone? Sadly, these are the very benchmarks of success that parents often wish for their children. Mum clearly thought it was definitely a case of not what you know, but who you know, that would secure the advantageous place in Jesus' kingdom. In Mark's Gospel, James and John ask the question, yet there is no contradiction really, as the 3 joined to make the petition. Didn't they get it? Didn't they hear Jesus' words, "The last shall be first and the first will be last"? Had they ignored or simply failed to understand what Jesus said would happen to him in Jerusalem? It seems obvious that they only heard what they wanted to hear. We probably all do that to an extent, editing words of Jesus to suit our convenience and confirm our prejudices. Jesus was very patient, but I wonder, did he think, "Here we go again," as the disciples bickered among themselves to be top dog, with everyone looking up to them? Nevertheless, he explains to them and to us the beautiful saying about coming not to be served, but to serve. To be fair, possibly the brothers were embarrassed by their mother's request, and in front of their companions too. "Oh, Mum, leave us alone. Go home." She certainly isn't the only mum in history to embarrass her children. And from the vantage of sitting on our very high horses, it's easy to criticise. But I'm sure there are times when each one of us wants to be recognised, perhaps even treated as exceptional. As Christians, we have often heard a lot about servant ministry, being available to God for whatever God desires. And often we come to realise that this can be very costly. And we think of the servant king, wrapping a towel around his waist and kneeling to wash dirty feet. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink? And oh, so confidently the disciples claimed, "Yes, of course we can." Clearly no idea what is in the said cup, which will hold the bitterest of contents. But the real test of our love for others is our readiness to share their cup of suffering, to sit alongside them in their grief and distress, and, as it were, help them drain its bitter dregs. All the followers of Jesus knew was that to be close to power was to have influence. So they jockeyed for position and tried to secure their future. We know that Jesus came to introduce a different set of values and new perspectives. It was the way of serving, not display. It was the way of sacrifice, not excess, of giving and not grabbing. Someone, a long time ago, once said, "The measure of a person is not how many servants they have, but how many people they serve." So here is a story, most definitely non-biblical, but set against what we have heard so far. So, if you are sitting comfortably, I will begin. Hauville Sachs had a very important but humble job in the offices of the largest corporation in the world. He worked in the mailroom, in the lowest reaches of the building, doing what he could do to help people with their jobs. Often, he wondered what went on in the floor just above his. He could hear their footsteps every day, and he would think of the exciting jobs they must have while he worked away in the basement. Then came a day when Hauville found a beetle scurrying across the floor. He raised his foot to flatten it when the beetle spoke. "Please don't kill me," said the bug. "If you let me live, I'll grant you 3 wishes." So Hauville let the beetle live. And when asked what he wanted for his first wish, he quickly replied, "To be promoted to the next floor." The next day, Horville's boss came in and told him he was to move up to the next floor that very day. Horville walked into the next floor offices like a conquering general. But it wasn't long before he heard footsteps on the floor above him. He said to the beetle, "My second wish is to be promoted floor by floor until I reach the very top, until I am in charge of the whole company." "Done," said the beetle. And floor by floor, he moved his way through the ranks to the 10th floor, the 20th floor, and the 50th floor, and finally to the very top floor. He was as high as he could go, managing director of the company with a plush office on the top floor of the building. Now, I suspect there is a little bit of Horville sash in all of us. Rather than serving, we too would rather be served. The disciples certainly struggled with this. But before we condemn Horville, let us at least follow his story through to its completion. Horville Sash was enjoying life on the top floor until one day he heard footsteps above him. He went up to the rooftop, and there he found one of his staff standing with his eyes closed. "What are you doing?" Horville asked. "Praying," came the answer. "To whom?" Pointing a finger towards the sky, the employee answered, "To God." Panic gripped Horville. There was a floor above him. He couldn't see it. He couldn't hear the shuffling of feet. All he saw was clouds. So he asked, "Do you mean there is an authority higher than me?" Horville summoned the beetle. It was time for his third and final wish. "Make me like God," he said. "Make me the highest. Put me in the kind of position that only God would hold if he were here on earth." The very next day, Horville Sash awakened to find himself in the basement, sorting the mail and doing what he could to help others be the best that they could possibly be. That's how Horville Sash learned that which Jesus had taught. Whoever wants to be first must be the last of all and servant of all. Brother, sister, let me serve you. Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. We are pilgrims on a journey, fellow travellers on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and share the load. I will hold the Christ light for you in the night time of your fear. I will hold my hand out to you, speak the peace you long to hear. Amen.